Vine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo comes to the Alliant Energy Center August 9th and 10th. Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo is a celebration of comics, toys, TV, film, art, cosplay, games, and all things nerdy. It's also a family-friendly event where you can meet your favorite celebrities, browse the vendor hall and artist alley for all the coolest merch, watch celebrity Q&As, and even more. Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo, also known as MadX, is going to be huge, with guests like Walter Jones from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, legendary wrestler Sting, plus other great guests from voice actors, authors, and artists all over the entire weekend. 2 days of action-packed fun at the Alliant Energy Center. Tickets start at $53. Kids tickets are just $9.99 for the entire weekend. Don't wait to get your tickets. Buy your tickets and get more information at MadisonComicExpo.com. MadX is Wisconsin's biggest Comic-Con, and don't forget Twin Cities Con is coming up in November. New guests are being announced all the time. Go to TwinCitiesCon.com for more information.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, partly cloudy and smoky with a low of 64. Then Tuesday, sunshine with a high of 83. Nightingale is your cozy, comfortable neighborhood bar and restaurant at 26th and Lindale in Minneapolis. Come in for the famous Nightingale burger or the ginger tamari chicken wings. View their menu or place a takeout order at nightingalempls.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us on this Monday evening. I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend and that you're able to get some just some relaxation. You know how it goes, right? I hope it's been good. Like Patrick said before the show started, very smoky out there. I noticed driving back from the station today that you couldn't even see downtown Minneapolis because of all the haze and smoke coming down from Canada. And, I think it's going away. I hope. It sounds like tomorrow's going to be a little bit clearer. We'll see, of course. I've had a couple people ask me about Friday's show real fast before we get into things, and not even GhostBox, but when I was covering for Matt on Friday, we had Butch Patrick on, Eddie Munster, and they were wondering, is that possible to hear that? And it is available on Spotify. Look up the Matt McNeil Show. That would have been from Friday, August 1st. Take a look at that. And it's in the first hour, about 18, 20 minutes into the show. I'm really happy with how that went, and I was really happy that Butch Patrick not only was really enjoying the interview, but he put up with a lot of my garbage in terms of me being hilarious. So I was just very happy that it was such a great time, and a lot of people have talked about that. So I just want to let you know where it's at. Now, it's going to be a very interesting program tonight because, quite frankly, we have an hour. It's not going to be enough time, and we'll bring our guest back again. And I hope she doesn't find this insulting when I feel like we're kind of kindred spirits in a sense. We're both very creative. We both like to do a lot. She does it on a grander scale, and really excited about it. Tonight we're going to have on Dr. Kelly Schutz. And here we go. As usual, I asked her before the start of the show, how do you say your last name? I even said it right to her. And then when I'm on the air, as usual, I got it wrong. But Kelly is an educator, voice actor, storyteller, personality, interviewer, podcast, TV show host, producer, professional photographer, digital artist, writer, conference speaker, cottage maker, cookbook writer, film creator, and volunteer. The thing is, you go over to universalpress.com, paranormaluniversalpress.com. Everything I just said can be backed up. You can see all that. These aren't just things that she just throws out that she does all these. She's a great just creator. She creates a lot of stuff, and I want to talk about it. One of the things I also want to talk about is the fact that she's an experiencer, and she calls it experiencer of the unknown, and I love that. And I just want to talk about that along with everything else that she is doing. So I'd like to welcome everybody. Dr. Kelly, welcome to GhostBox Radio.
Well, hello there, and hello everybody.
So here we go. I mean, I did the thing I like prompted myself for weeks not to do, is say Schutz instead of Schutz.
Schutz.
And so we've already screwed up the interview. We might as well start over. No, but it's how it goes, right? Yeah. So why don't we just start? I want to kind of just talk a little bit about creativity. I think creativity is one of the most wonderful things in the universe that I don't think everyone fully grasps. It sounds kind of weird, but they don't take full advantage of it. To me, it feels like that you are doing exactly that, though. You are taking full advantage of your creativity. Can you talk about the importance of creativity, just to kind of start us off, please?
Well, one of the things that I want to emphasize here is that the reason why I think a lot of people do not engage in their things that they like to do, or they want to do, or maybe attempt to do, is they're afraid that they're going to fail at it, or someone's going to say something mean about it, and so they don't take a risk. And ever since I was very young, I actually was forced to bring out my creative side. For any of you out there who knows the 4-H program, I was big in 4-H at a very young age, but I was also very much afraid to take a risk. And one of the risks that I took was public speaking, when we had to do demonstrations and perfect that and stand up in front of a crowd. And I will tell you, it was terrifying. But the one thing I didn't want to do was feel foolish. So I came up with ways to be able to bring in an audience and attract them. But I wanted to also emphasize that we all, when I did college teaching, and I'm retired now, one of the questions I always brought up to my students was, go inside your little box inside of you and ask yourself the question, what do I like to do? Or what would I like to try? Or what would I like to experience? And then just do it. And so many of them, though, when they were talking to me after class, would say, I don't have any skills. I don't have any gifts. I don't have this and that. And I said, yes, you do. You just haven't listened to yourself strongly enough. And so I just went off when I was younger. I just started to take risks and I don't want to say criticism, take reflection on things that were told to me. Mm-hmm. And then if I was still interested in it, just kept trying to go and perfect what I did. So yeah, everyone's got a creative spirit. I don't think anyone should convince themselves that they don't. Think about something you like to do or pursue. And if you don't like it, fine. If you do like it, though, and you want to hone your gift, then hone your gift and take classes, do whatever you need to do to better yourself. Talk to people that have done it and what they've done to get over some hurdles. And I think you'll surprise yourself. And not only that, it's a nice release. It's just a nice, people call it a hobby, but it's a good release from the world in which we experience every day.
It's interesting because you talk about gifts, and I know that you have gifts when we talk about the paranormal side of things, the metaphysical side of things. And I just found interesting the correlation, what you said, and how many people have you heard say this to you in your paranormal life, if you mind me saying it as such, of like, I don't have any gifts. I don't have anything that I don't have any sort of metaphysical or gifts of any kind like that. And I just thought that was an interesting correlation, that people are so quick to say what they don't have, opposed to trying to find out what they do have.
Yeah. When I was younger and I was having experiences, or I was going through a lot of experiences. And keep in mind, I'm 64 years old now, and we're talking back when I was 8, 9, 10, 14 years old. And I was going through some of these things. But back then, everything was passed off as either angel, devil, if you're very religious, it's all in your imagination. Stop having such a big imagination. And I grew up out in the country. Okay. So I wasn't necessarily privy to a lot of this stuff that was perhaps going on, but we never talked about it. We never did, we never had programs on TV. I think the closest I came to that really interested me, there was a couple ones at night. It was like Horror Incorporated, or for the spooky side of things, or the Twilight Zone, or anything like that. But it captivated me with what they were trying to entertain me with, rather than want to believe that some of this stuff was actually perhaps around the corner and out there. So I don't know. It just somehow just fell into place for me. But then as I got older, I started to recognize that some of these things were not coincidences anymore, that I was able to hear on occasion something of a voice or inside my head and all that. Now, I have to preface one thing too. Back in my day, it was a big thing to end up in a psychologist's office if they thought you don't ever say, oh, I hear voices, because then all of a sudden they label you and you're in a straitjacket and off you go. But it was a different time back then. So Greg, right now, with the way things are in the field, I believe that it's taken a while, but I believe things are slowly being more accepted and changed, accepted for the change that's coming regarding people coming out and talking more about what they're going through. So
it's interesting, and I'm gonna force some of my own ideas down your throat here a little bit. And when it's like, when you realize you have gifts, it comes to you. You're not necessarily looking for them, but they materialize, and you kind of figure out a way to live with them. I don't personally consider that being an experiencer per se. Where I'm going with this is, to me, an experiencer is somebody who's seeking this out now. Someone who's seeking out stuff. Where did that happen for you? As where you went from the stuff that's coming to me, I'm trying to figure myself out, to now I feel pretty confident with everything. Now I want to experience, and I want to try things that maybe other people wouldn't be ready for. When did that happen for you?
Well, okay, so I'm going to backtrack from that and then move forward. So when I was around 3, 4, 5 years old, let's start with that as a base here, a foundation. I was having dreams, in my sleep, and then I would wake up the next morning and I would go into the living room and I would see these horrific things that I had just dreamt about in my sleep literally play out on the television. Black and white box TV, what do you call it? Rabbit ears out in the country. And here's this stuff playing over the TV. So at first I thought, you don't think much of it as a little kid. You want to watch cartoons. That's why you're out there wanting to, look at the TV set. But what was really strange is that I started to see this happening quite a bit. And then I decided, kind of like, wait a minute, if I'm seeing this on TV and I'm having this in my dream, then that must mean I'm causing this. And I really did, as a very young person, thought that I was causing what was happening on TV. Now let's fast forward a little bit. So when I was around the age of 11, 12, 13, 14, I started noticing that I'm not going to use the word predict, but I had a thing with behavior, which ultimately became one of my degrees in college. But I noticed things that were happening to people, and I could almost predict what was going to happen next, and this is how I justified it. Because keep in mind, there was no talk of paranormal. There was no talk of types of side gifts or anything like that back then. What I thought then was, oh, this is interesting. I get it now. This is what was coming to me. I get it. I must have a really, really good set of genes. I mean, that sounds a little genetics. Like it sounds a little crazy for the average person. But to a kid, you're going, well, where did this come from? It must be coming from my family roots and my genetics. That's why I can do this and nobody else can. Now let's fast forward a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm in school and I'm listening to some of the kids around me brag about how they've seen a ghost, have a ghost in their house and all this sort of thing. And I felt a little, believe it or not, a little jealous because I didn't know what a ghost was. I was trying to figure that out. And so I actually started to manifest things at the age of 14, 15, 16, around that, when I was on my paternal grandparents' property, which was built out in the country. And it was a house that looked very, it wasn't spooky, it was premier. It was a Dutch colonial. And I just felt like something on that property just felt kind of ghosty. And so I started, when we would go over for trips, over there to visit, I would actually sit out in the car. I would stand out on the lawn and I would start saying things like, I don't know what a ghost looks like, but I really wish I could see one. I mean, I really wish I could see one right here. And I kept going on and on and on about that. And so that just because I was a little jealous and I wanted to imagine what that could look like. All right. However, and I have to say, however, while this was all going on with my wishing, I was having experiences in my maternal grandparents' house where I was being attacked and things were happening and I could hear things and things were moving around and there was all kinds of things going on in there to me, which I didn't blame it on a ghost at the time. I was told it was my nervousness and my imagination and to just forget about it. But it never went away. So things finally took a turn when I was in so I'm going through all these things, right? And then in my 30s, young 30s, there was a tornado that ripped through the property of the place where I wished I could see a ghost on. And it lit it up like a Christmas tree. You could hear the electricity in the air. Trees were down. The house was not touched. I went there. There was nobody in the house at the time. My grandparents had passed away. It was locked up. And I started walking around the property to see if I could take pictures of any damage. And I didn't realize that that's when I had two apparitions staring at me point blank right from the screen. It's a screen, not a plate window. There's a difference. Screen window right at me, which I captured on my camera. And then all of a sudden, I went back the next day after I had everything developed. I saw this on the pictures. I actually got a laptop, blew it up, said, oh my God, these are ghosts looking at me from the window. Who are these people? Well, they're from what I believe to be my relatives. But bringing that one step further, I went back and I stood on the lawn and I said, you came to the window, and I stood there and looked at the window. You came to me. You must have a message for me. What is that message? That's what I said. And I heard in the back of my head, the genealogy is wrong. And I thought, what? The genealogy? I am basically the family historian. And I had the name of the little girl who showed up along with an older man in the window. Her name was actually wrong in the genealogy, and it was correct. It was wrong. And so then I started thinking, oh my God, I can hear them. They can talk to me. And that's when I learned that I was telepathic. And that's when I became obsessed. If I can hear them and see them through my camera by showing to me, then that must mean I can see others and hear other ghosts as well. And so I started my journey with going to a lot of perceived haunted bed and breakfasts because I felt I couldn't die there because they'd probably shut the place down. So I felt pretty safe there. But long story short, it became an obsession. And then everything went out of control from that point to where I'm at now. And I'm writing my 12th book now because of all the experiences I've had, including a little bit of otherworldly experiences as well. So that's where it started. Things were happening, and then it boom, and then off I went, and that's where it all began.
That's pretty cool. Coincidentally, I'm reading my 12th book now, so I mean we're all in the same place, right? Why? I'm just kidding. I'm up to like 14 now. Let's do this. Let's take our first break. When we come back, I want to talk about, if you're fine with it, aliens.
Yeah.
How about we talk a little bit about that? Anyone who has any questions, put them in the comments. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
What if one day could open your heart, spark your spirit, and connect you to your most authentic self? That day is Saturday, August 23rd from 10 to 6 at the Litz Rock Shops Woo Woo Festival at the Taylors Falls Memorial Community Center, located at 312 Government Street in Taylors Falls. Explore tarot, oracle, psychic, and mediumship readings. Listen to inspiring speakers covering fascinating metaphysical topics. Soak in the calm tones of live hand pan music. Shop handcrafted goods, crystals, metaphysical tools, books, and more. It's just $5 cash at the door as a free will offering. And remember, Taylors Falls is a destination. Come out for the festival and stay to explore the natural beauty, historic charm, and energy of this incredible town. And yes, there will be walking tacos.
The Let's Rock Shops Woo Woo Festival, Saturday, August 23rd from 10 to 6 at 312 Government Street, Taylors Falls Memorial Community Center. Just $5 at the door. Come for the woo, stay for the wonder, and the walking tacos.
Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refinedivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. And as going into the weekend and Saturday, I got a call from a friend of mine, and he's just like, I was listening to some of your stuff on AM 950, and I heard the Mavericks ad, and he said, I don't know what you do with that ad. The way you read it makes every time I hear it, I want to go to Mavericks. And I said, if I had $1 for every time someone said that to me, well, he said, can you go to Mavericks? So we got together and we went out to Roseville, went to Mavericks, I got some roast beef, and he got something. I wasn't paying attention to what he was doing. Anyway, he had some food, and it was really good. Then we went over to Sprinkles, which is now owned by Mavericks, in the parking lot next door. There they have ice cream and stuff like that on a day like in the 85-degree sort of area. It was pretty nice. Folks, get over to Mavericks, get your roast beef sandwich, and afterwards go to Sprinkles. My gosh, that was a great day. Really good food. And it's the second time in 2 weeks I've been out to Mavericks. The first time was the week before. We had Refined Divine in town here with our husband Dave. We went out to Mavericks. My gosh, it's really, really good. So if you haven't done so, please do so. If you have done so, go again and let them know that you heard this ad on AM 950. They'd like to know that. My guest tonight is Dr. Kelly Schutz, and we are talking, well, just about all of her experiences and stuff. And like I said, there's a lot that has happened in her life. We're not going to get to hardly any of it. You need to go to paranormaluniversalpress.com. There's a lot of information on there, a lot of stuff that she's done, a lot more information on her, about her books, about the shows that she's doing, and you have a book coming out this month, don't you?
Yep, Phenomena. Probably more closer to September at this point. And I'm going to have it at a conference coming up in October. It's going to debut there. And yes, it's going to be a book regarding all kinds of things, everything from cryptids to Bigfoot, UFOs, apparitions. And the book is centered around, there's stories in it. There's questions about these stories. And there's a lot of it is going to be based on my experiences and also my thinking on how it's changed regarding some of these experiences that I've had. It's kind of interesting to note that since I was very young and since I started writing my first 11 books, I'm almost too afraid to go back and read them now because everything starts off, it could be spiritual, and then it goes to, well, maybe it's more hauntingly, ghostly, paranormal, and then, well, maybe it's more otherworldly. And so it came down to, I have a slide that I show at every conference that I speak at, and I usually say, what are we experiencing? And that's really a question that I'm not even sure anyone could truly answer 100%, but we are all chasing after that question. What exactly are we going after here? So that's kind of a little bit about the flavor of the book, but it'll debut at the Rock Island conference. Forgive me, it's the Haunted Rock Island Esoteric Expo. Yep, in Rock Island, Illinois on October 4th. I will have it there in big debut. So
we will be there together.
Yes, we will.
That's how that works. I was thinking during the break, because I thought to myself, what if people wanted to, kind of delve into your bibliography? And I thought to myself, and it's interesting how you just said, like, I'm kind of afraid to go back and read the earlier ones. Yeah. I mean, because wouldn't you say this is really the history of your journey? And it goes to show how your journey is even evolved, the right word for it,
Yes. Yeah, I would say evolved to other things. So keep in mind that even though at the very young age I was having visions and things would show up I seem to have a connection with electronics, which I cannot explain. Okay. But then it started to evolving. Then I thought everything was paranormal. First I thought it was spiritual. Then I thought it was paranormal. And then I started having experiences that seemed a little bit unusually like otherworldly. And so I can't necessarily always pinpoint what is attributing to my experiences, but I can definitely stand on 2 feet and tell people, and you're not going to change my mind on any of this at this point. I've had over 100 different types of experiences, which I proclaim to be paranormal, and maybe about 3 to 4, give or take, otherworldly experiences that I can definitely separate why I think something is something and something is another. But yeah, standing on my feet saying, no, this stuff is too unusual and I'm too analytical, and I have a law background. So I was trained to be and to think very logically first before jumping to any conclusions on anything. And so it can be kind of confusing. Yeah.
Well, and I think too, I mean, because I believe you and because I think we've had this conversation before that, it's all energy based.
Yeah.
And I mean, would you say, trying not to lead, with my experiences in the different areas, to me, I think I could really, I could tell the difference between alien, cryptid, and paranormal. I mean, energy wise, there's just a very different feel. Do you feel that?
Yeah. And also I'll give you an example. Well, I have many examples. My God, I've got 11 books of examples. And
11 books of example, and we're going to read them all tonight. No.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you every single one of them in order too.
Well, that's how we take the journey with you. So absolutely.
That's right. Well, okay. I'm going to give you a recent example, which was kind of, it's not confusing to me. It's intriguing to me. So my husband had a recent health scare. And so I did set up the cameras again. I have moved now to my 5th home. I have definitely haunted and or identified portals in 1 or 2 of them from my previous homes, definitely. And so I set up the cameras again, which I thought I never would do, but I'm concerned about my husband. So this just happened actually about, I'm thinking here, 4 or 5 days ago, actually. And I don't know if any of you out there have ever heard in your ear a buzz that sounds like kind of a bee or something like that. But it's happened to me very pronouncedly in the last, it has only happened to me twice. And so I'm going to tell you, I captured on my camera that night so I started doing this. I was laying in bed. I hear this right in my ear. And I'm like, okay, what is that? And so I'm glad the camera was rolling. And so I'm doing this, and you can see me doing this in the camera, like, get away. We don't have bugs, flies, bees, or anything of that sort in this house. Now, I did do a little research to see if it could possibly have been something from an inner ear standpoint that might have vibrated in a very unusual way that may have caused that. So keep in mind, I always go to the health aspect first, and then I captured a nice looking orb, and I'm talking nice looking orb that actually showed up in that room that night. And there's a difference in my book between dust orbs, water, mist orbs and all that, intelligent orbs, orbs that actually seem to know what they're doing. And I can identify those over the misty, buggy, all that kind of sort of thing. There was nothing of the insect type. But anyway, what was really kind of crazy is when I get that buzzing in my ear, I know that doesn't appear to me to be, I believe, paranormal. I don't believe it. The last time it happened too was when I was in a house 20 years ago, I guess. And it happened to me while sitting on the couch by myself, and I kind of went dizzy a little bit. And I didn't think it was anything extraterrestrial then. I thought it was more paranormal then. But I've had occurrences happening to me that seem to just be too suspicious in nature to be paranormal. Let me give you an example again here, other than the buzzing. Handprint that showed up on my body. This is going to be the most famous situation for me that says, no, that wasn't paranormal. That wasn't a old lady putting, I've had 5 readings. That was not an old lady putting her hand on me. I have had miraculous healings where I should be gone, long gone by now, for various reasons. But this handprint showed up here. It was upside down. The fingers were long. One of them was very pronounced crooked. And I do show this picture at the conferences all the time. I'll be showing it again in Rock Island. So that was over where I had COVID pneumonia, and I had regular pneumonia over on the other side. And they told me that it was going to could take years to get this COVID pneumonia out of my bronchial area. And when that handprint showed up, it was gone. And I'm clear now. And it far, far, far between that. But it gets bigger than that. So then now I'm on a question of who put that handprint on my body. Yep. So the handprint was reddish purple. It was embedded in my skin. It was obvious that it was not a human hand. It was obvious it was something else. And I kept saying, like I normally do, to the universe once in a while, would you please tell me who put that handprint on there? I'm getting all kinds of confusing readings. They all think it's this, and it's not. What is it? I had another dream. And it was about months later, and I never dreamt of it before. I've never dreamt of it after, but what it was this. I saw in my dream what looked like a 28-ish-year-old kind of woman, thin. She was wearing clothes, but she was walking away from me, and she had what appeared to be a little bit dark brown, longer hair. And I said, that's my husband's cousin's kid. That's the first thing I thought. That was until it turned around. And when it turned around and it looked at me, it had big ant-like gray kind of eyes, mantis kind of eyes. It had a black COVID mask over its face, and it had its hair parted down the middle and kind of pulled back like that. And I recognized right off the bat that what I was looking at wasn't even a dream. It was something that was ungodly, unbelievable. And I woke up, I was full of sweat. I screamed out loud, get away from me, and all that sort of thing. And then it left, it disappeared, obviously. But when you ask for what did this and who did that, sometimes you're not prepared for the answers that come to you. So I did have one psychic tell me. He said it was either a mantis being because it was a healer, and it was over my COVID area that somehow miraculously cleared in a very rapid period of time, like gone miraculously. And it was there to try to tell you with the black COVID mask. It was trying to give you hints. COVID mask, big eyes, could be a mantis healer and or a gray. And I managed to find online a person that kind of looked like its face. And I found another one. And I said, if you marry these two images together, that's what it looked like. It was very alien-like in nature. And so that was very terrifying, but it didn't hurt me. And I have come to accept that reason over all the others that were given to me.
That's incredible. And that's incredible. That opens up, and we won't get into it, at least right here, at least right now, but that opens up a whole other can of worms of someone else I know who's had a very similar situation a few times, and we'll talk about that at some point. Kelly, I got to go ahead and take another break here. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. We'll get into our last segment, so things are going to move very quickly. So if you have any questions for Kelly, put them in the comments. We have plenty to talk about. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo comes to the Alliant Energy Center August 9th and 10th. Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo is a celebration of comics, toys, TV, film, art, cosplay, games, and all things nerdy. It's also a family-friendly event where you can meet your favorite celebrities, browse the vendor hall, and artist alley for all the coolest merch, watch celebrity Q&As, and even more. Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo, also known as MadX, is going to be huge, with guests like Walter Jones from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, legendary wrestler Sting, plus other great guests from voice actors, authors, and artists all over the entire weekend. 2 days of action-packed fun at the Alliant Energy Center. Tickets start at $53. Kids tickets are just $9.99 for the entire weekend. Don't wait to get your tickets. Buy your tickets and get more information at MadisonComicExpo.com. MadX is Wisconsin's biggest Comic-Con, and don't forget Twin Cities Con is coming up in November. New guests are being announced all the time. Go to TwinCitiesCon.com for more information.
And join me tomorrow on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. We're going to have on author Diana Stampfler. She has written the book Death and Lighthouses of the Great Lakes. It is a fantastic conversation, and I think that you will really enjoy it. She is from the Michigan area, and she has this amazing fascination with lighthouses. This book has a lot of amazing stories, not so much paranormal, but a little bit more true crime. You'll definitely want to check that out. We are talking with Dr. Kelly Schutz, and we are talking about her being experiencer. She's also has a show on Paraflixx, Disembodied Voices. But I mean, that's just one of like 1,000 things she has going on right now. So you really do want to go check out paranormaluniversalpress.com. I'll put that into everything that I do post show, so you know where to find her. She's also going to be out there with me, not because of me, but with me out at the Rock Island Esoteric Expo. That's going to be coming up. We have, I don't know, we have roughly about 11 minutes left or so. And, you know, that information, and, you know, I don't know if Nancy's being facetious or not. I was not going to originally put this up here, but I think it's worth actually putting up here. So you're saying it scared the living crap out of you, that mantis thing you saw. Is that correct? Because it wouldn't have me. And I know Nancy, I'm going to push back on that a little bit, because I think when you're in the moment, first of all, and I think the key to what you're talking about there is simply this: careful for what you ask for, because you're going to sit. I've done a whole run of presentations with that theme on it, and you could say, I don't know, I maybe I'm being harsh here. You could say it wouldn't scare me, but until you're face to face with something you were not expecting, You know, it doesn't mean you're scared of it now. It just means that, okay. See, Nancy, you got to understand, we can't tell feelings in writing, okay? Because she's like, not at all being facetious. I'd be terrified. That's more like it. But I mean, there are people out there though, and now we can remove Nancy from that horrible list. There are people out there though that are just like, that's nothing. I've always wanted to meet aliens. I'd love to meet one face to face, stuff like that. And I could speak from experience as well, Kelly, that you may say that, and then when you're being surrounded by them or whatever the thing is, that's a different story altogether.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you want to talk about a terrifying story, happened on June 1st. And I welcome anyone who's listening and watching right now to read the full story. Go to my Facebook page, which is under Kelly Schutz. You'll find me there. Go down to June 3rd, just scroll all the way down and read the story about how I was singled out in Brussels in an alleyway by a car that had no driver and came at me at what we would say 80 miles per hour, smashing into a building. And until you can even begin to imagine going to a country, and I was just filmed, by the way, on this story, and I can't disclose from who right now until the movie is out. I am in a movie now because of that situation, which was so ungodly, unreal. And we talk about energy. There's I was talking to somebody, Greg, recently, and he said to me, there's only one other case I know, and it happened to the Warrens, where there was a car that had no driver or something along that lines. I don't know if it was a truck or a car that came at her or whatever and attempted to run her over. And this is exactly what happened in Brussels. And until you are faced in a situation that you cannot ever explain to somebody, I'm still traumatized by it because it's so fresh, and I broke down on that movie. But I don't know. I'm just going to hold that thought there for a moment and let you take the reins.
And that's just it. I mean, I'm always careful not to try to pepper in too much of my own experiences, and because this isn't a show about me, it's a show about you. But the thing is it truly, we did a CE5 experiment. I've shared this on the air many times, and we were hoping for one thing to happen, and it happened, and then it stayed with us. And I think that's the thing. And I'd love your thoughts on it. If you feel that I'm way off base or whatever that. I did my first sort of CE5 here in my house. It's about 3 years ago using Spirit Box. And from there, I feel literally like I've been marked, and that they don't, once you establish that connection, they don't leave you.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so. And I actually had Kathleen Marden on, and we were talking about stuff, and I explained the situation to her, and I've never, I just can tell you what I remember. And the next day after I did the Spirit Box session, I just like bent over, and all of a sudden a bunch of blood came out of my nose.
Oh dear. Mm-hmm.
And she just said to me, she's like, well, you were, and not like hold on to your hat, this is what I'm going to tell you. She's like, well, that's because you were abducted.
Yeah.
And I was just like, say what? So what I'm getting at here is that, to your point, there are things that happen, and being an experiencer, trying to experience stuff. I mean, with those situations, like, and you've had stuff that you go back and you think about, and it terrifies you still, or gives you some kind of emotion.
Yeah.
How do you go forward, and how do you still want to, still experience things, but also make sure that you're taking care of yourself?
Yeah. When I have been trying to, I'm a citizen researcher. Let me start with that. I have become a citizen researcher because I cannot turn it off anymore. And so what you're telling me with the CE5 experience, I have also been told that I have been abducted, my memory erased, and that I am marked.
Yeah.
And what happened, I'm going to try to give you a very short version due to time, but please go to my Facebook page, look under Kelly Schutz, and go down to June 3rd. The whole story's there, including some pictures. All right, here's the very short and skinny of it. Husband and I are in the alleyway. We're walking back to go to another activity. It's a very calm, peaceful day. Happened on June 1st. I looked to the left of me. There was a hotel there. And anyone who's been in Brussels knows how cramped everything is. 2 taxi cars were sitting there. A car was approaching. That would be car number 3. Approaching. Didn't know if it was Uber, didn't know who it was, didn't know what it was, but we knew it was approaching, and it was stopping momentarily at that hotel. All of a sudden, my husband and I are in the direct view or path of this car. This car, the minute we're right there, starts to rev like vroom, vroom, vroom. But there's nobody in the car except for the 2 passengers, I believe, that were coming to either get out or get in. I mean, it happened that fast. The gentleman who was supposed to be the driver of the car recognized that something wasn't right. So he grabbed the door and the car started to move and drag him. And he couldn't get into the car. But what was crazy about this was there was 2 taxis in its way. And so it hit the one taxi very mildly. And if you can imagine it swerving around it and looking like right at me, going, I am going to get you. And then it just shot off like a rocket, and something like God or something, my protectors or whatever, pushed me, and I pushed my husband very fast out of the way. It was absolutely frightening. And I screamed, don't look. The car is going to explode. Don't look. All the bags went off. Boom, 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 boom. Startled everybody else around. They all stopped, went to a quiet hush. And then, of course, I didn't. I was just standing there with him going, oh my God, what just happened here? It was coming right at me, as coming at us, basically. Yeah. And I could go on and on about it, but I'm still traumatized. And that's why I am in this movie, because it had no driver. It had a mind of its own. It took the wheel by its own. It revved by its own, and it shot off like a rocket. And it was like, get out of my way, taxi. I'm going to get her. And so I don't exactly, there's a moment that happened before that may have provoked that. And it's too long of a story to get into, but I might have written it. I'll have to go back and check to see if I got all the details on my Facebook page. But I'm still shaking about it, just thinking about it, because I have to relive it. So there are things out there that we cannot always explain. There's energies out there that are good, bad, you name it, or whatever, or confused or whatever. And the bottom line is this: you got to be careful what you delve into. And yes, my motto is be careful what you wish for. Because you never know, if you turn it on, you might not be able to turn it off. So, yeah.
And once you get into that, and we have about 2 minutes left, once you get into that, into their line of sight,
yeah.
Once you get noticed, once you're noticed by them, yeah, that's where things change. Yeah. No, it's important for people to know this, who see it as almost like a romanticized way of like existing, like, like they're Ghostbusters. I hate that term, by the way, or that they're trying to get aliens to talk to them. It's like, well, you do that, you don't know what's going to happen from that point forward.
Yeah, you open a portal.
You do.
A portal to yourself. That's what I really want to say. You open a portal to yourself, and here they come, right? Yeah.
Here they come. So paranormaluniversalpress.com. That's where we need to find out and read, and also go to your Facebook page, Kelly Schutz go down to June 3rd.
Yep.
And read it.
Yeah.
And talk about it. And where can people, I mean, obviously I was gonna say, where can they find your Paraflixx show? Well, Paraflixx. And how often does it come out?
Well, Paraflixx is out once a week on Sunday nights. I have a guest there unless I'm taking a short break. And I am also establishing another 3. I'm going to be on another 2-3 networks coming up here as well, with audio shows, radio shows, and also visual shows as well. I've expanded myself to the point where I can't seem to slow anything down anymore. So, and books are on Amazon. And I would say my most favorite book is Haunted Life. And then there's Manifestations and Message Received. Those are the 3 most popular. And again, I'm going to see Greg at the conference, and I will debut Phenomena. And I will also have that story that I just told you in the book. So
that's fantastic. And we're gonna do some live streaming. I'm doing the live streaming from the convention. We'll get you on during the day. We'll talk and whatnot. I'm also on an episode of Disembodied Voices as well from last year. So an amazing episode. But
well, we'll have you back, Greg. I'll have you back because I've got shows now. I need you back. So yeah, it'll be great.
Well, and we'll have you back because we've just scratched the surface, and I loved all of your information that you shared with us, and I really appreciate you sharing your experiences so others can kind of learn from them as well. So
yeah,
I really
thank you for having me on.
Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you just in a couple months over at Rock Island. So thank you. All right, folks. This is fantastic. We'll have this on Spotify, all the usual places. Join us tomorrow. We're going to be talking about death and lighthouses, as one does on the Great Lakes, with Diana Stampfler. Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow.